The NFL just made another big bet on the Denver Broncos, and I'm here for it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Ben. I break down all things Denver sports, and I can't wait to dive in with y'all. So before we get to the big news, the big bet the NFL just made on our Denver Broncos, I need us all to hop in the DeLorean, or if we're millennials, let's hop in the hot tub time machine. And I want us to go back in time to the 2018 Denver Broncos season. That was the last time we played a meaningful game in the month of December. That was the last time really hopes were high on a playoff run, and we weren't a laughingstock and embarrassed to talk to non-Broncos fans about our team. So I'm going to show what happened at the end of that season and why things are really different now than they were there. So if you remember the 2018 season that I just alluded to, we had Vance Joseph as our head coach. We just drafted Bradley Chubb. After the Minneapolis Miracle, we went out and got Case Keenum, or as John Elway called him, we called him Case Keesum. And hopes were very, very high. We started off the year beating the Seahawks, who we always have not liked playing. We beat our rivals, the Raiders. But then we lost a bunch of games in a row. The one that sticks out the most to me, and maybe you'll remember as Broncos fans, was this loss to the Chiefs at home. And that was the game where we had Demaryius Thomas wide open in the corner of the end zone, and Case Keenum just missed him. And you were like, oh my goodness, this whole streak that we just broke this year would have ended right there, where Case Keenum had a chance to beat him and he didn't. But looking here, we see that we went into our bye at 3-6, and hope was over. Everyone was talking about it's a fire sale. We actually got rid of Demaryius Thomas. We traded him to the Houston Texans, who we're about to play this week. And we thought hope was over, and we had no chance at making the playoffs at 3-6 because we'd seen how we played the year before. We'd seen the fire sale at the trade deadline, and then something really odd happened. We came out and won 3 really big games in a row, and 2 of those games on the road in hard places to play. We beat the Pittsburgh Steelers at home, obviously, but Pittsburgh is a tough team to beat against Tomlin, obviously. And all of a sudden, we are at 6-6, and we looked ahead at our schedule, and every team that we had at the time, some of them are good now, but at the time, all of these teams had losing records. And if you looked at the way the AFC playoff picture was facing out, I remember telling my wife, hey, cancel all of our plans because the Denver Broncos, hey, it's been a couple bad years, babe, but we're back. We're making the playoffs. We've won 3 in a row, and all of our teams ahead of us are bad and have losing records. We got a couple games at home there. We're going to win. Well, unfortunately, you probably remember how that story ends. The Denver Broncos lost out and missed out on the playoffs, which we've done multiple years since then. Now, the thing that even just at the very top that Wikipedia notices that is very, very different about this year and other years is just how snake-bitten this team was with injuries. And we've talked about it on this show so many times that your greatest ability in the NFL is your availability. And if you look at this, we lost our number 1 cornerback, Chris Harris Jr., who wasn't just a great player, but also a leader on that team. We traded Demaryius. We lost multiple offensive linemen. The only offensive lineman to start the entire year or to start even that last game was Garrett Bowles. And so you just juxtapose that with the situation that we have right now, and I think you feel very, very different about our potential going forward, and that we lost Tim Patrick early on, and other than that, we are incredibly healthy, and I think that really, really plays into our future and really gives us a great shot. And so let's dive into what is the big bet and why isn't this just something I'm hopeful for, like, oh, we're healthy, I think we'll keep it going. I think the NFL also sees this. The NFL is showing us that they believe that the Denver Broncos are going to keep the streak going, or they wouldn't have flexed us back into primetime. And here's what we're looking at here. So on Saturday, December 16th, the NFL had the opportunity to put a game in primetime on Saturday night. Now, this is prime real estate for them. This is, the NFL is one of the smartest businesses around, and they want to own every single day of the week, every single second of your attention, which the more the Broncos win, the more of my attention they're getting, that's for sure. But what they did was look at these choices that they had to choose from to which one they are going to put into primetime. And you You got Steelers, Colts. Both of those are teams that I think have great playoff chances. Still, both of them could still win their division. Bears and Browns, obviously not a great game, but Vikings, Bengals, that certainly could have been flexed in. And so you see here, if the NFL thought that the Broncos was going to lose the next two games or not be at least 500, there's no way that they make that choice. So here's our NFL playoff predictor, and the New York Times does all these simulations based on wins and losses. So looking here, that if the Broncos were to lose next week or this Sunday to the Texans and then lose again to the Chargers, their chances of making the playoffs is a 7% chance. There's no way the NFL puts a team on their most coveted position that Saturday night game if we're essentially eliminated from playoff contention. But instead, I think the NFL sees that you are having a team who is fighting for the NFC title in the Detroit Lions and the Denver Broncos, who are going to be an 80% chance at making the playoffs, because I do believe we're about to rattle off back-to-back wins, and I hope you are as excited about that as I am. A couple other big updates that we have along these lines is just on the injury front, more things to be excited about. If you caught the interview that I did with Aaron Wilson, the beat reporter for the Houston Texans, you see that the Houston Texans are playing a shaky kicker on Sunday who ended up losing the game for the Houston Texans by missing a last-second field goal. That's got to be in his head. They're already saying that the full-time kicker is coming back, so you hear that. They brought in other people to try out, and so his confidence has to be rattled. And this defense is a bend but don't break defense where we'll give you some yards, but it's going to come down to, are you going to make field goals? And I like a backup kicker who doesn't have confidence, who they're trying out other guys. The other thing is that the Houston Texans on their injury report for this week also are missing a tight end as well. And so I think the less options CJ Stroud has, the better. So I'm feeling very, very good about our chances on Sunday. We will definitely be here immediately for a post-game reaction. And Broncos country, let's ride.